Hey Facebook, what's up everybody? How are you? Happy Sunday. Just waiting for Instagram to come online here. Hey Instagram, how's it going? Happy Sunday everybody. I hope that you are well. Wow, it's looking like things are really fuzzy and foggy. Hang on one second. I just need to wipe off my screen there. Everything's looking a little bit like I have some major filters on, so let me just wipe my face grease off of the camp. That's way better. It was looking a little bit foggy and fuzzy, although there's nothing wrong with that. Sort of my filtered fantasy making me look 20 again. Happy Sunday, everybody. So lovely to connect with you today. I've been so busy doing my videos for the 30-day video challenge. For those of you who are unaware, I set a challenge for myself. It started, I think today's day 2 today's day 2. 30 videos in 30 days, man. I don't know if I bit off more than I can chew. Hang on, just still got a little schmutz on the camera there. Thank you to those of you who sent in your questions because they have been super amazing and really helpful in terms of content. For those of you who aren't aware, this challenge that I set for myself, basically I'm asking you to send me your questions, whatever questions you have about any sort of spiritual topic. And I will use those questions, or at least 30 of those questions, to create videos for you. These are short form videos. I'm trying to keep them 7 minutes or less, which you know for me, being a blabbermouth that I am, that is a challenge in and of itself to try to get some videos done in less than 7 minutes. But it's been super exciting so far, and I've gotten a lot of great questions. So if there's a question that you would like to submit, you can send it to me via Facebook or Instagram, or even my YouTube on the community page. You can also send me a DM or just put a comment on the video that I have posted on my channel. So thank you for that. So I've been super busy, but I wanted to make sure that we got a chance to chat today about October, and here we are already halfway through. God, can you believe it? Like in 2.5 months, the year is over. Like in 2.5 months, 2018 is donezo, and we are already moving into 2019. And I've started to feel a little bit of 2019 start to percolate. I'm nothing that I want to share at this point because it's not really clear. I can just kind of feel it starting to come in. But we've got a lot going on right now. I know many of us are feeling the squeeze of what's happening right now, and Venus retrograde is another layer of intensity. Give me thumbs up or a heart emoji or a poop emoji, whatever, if you're feeling like October and this Venus retrograde is turning out to be yet another intense passage. It's funny. One of the questions that I received from someone on Instagram was, I feel like the energies are just really intense. Is it, and I feel like it's just continuing to get intense, and is it going to let up anytime soon? The answer is no. I really don't think it is. I don't think that we're ever going to go back to the way that it was, right? This is about transformation. This is about moving us beyond where we have been. This is about the transformation of what it means to be a human at this point in time. This is about moving beyond what we have ever even thought capable of what it is to be a human and what we can do and create and be. We're moving beyond the old ideas of, societies and government and systems and institutions. So it's a lot of stuff needs to be sort of recreated and transformed, and that requires a lot of stuff first to fall apart. So, I have always said this, that creation and destruction are two parts of the same thing. Like they're all part of the creation cycle, right? Something has to fall apart before I can build the new thing. I think of the analogy of building a house. You got to cut some trees down in order to build a house. So, yeah, it's intense, and I think it's going to continue to be intense, but we always have access to our own inner space. We always have access to our own core of truth, our own inner connection, that our own sort of 0 point, where we can find that pivot or that connection or that place of security and strength. And I think a lot about, the tropical storms and the hurricanes that we've been seeing all over the planet. Where is the peace and the calm? It's always in the center, right? The eye of the storm is always the center and the calm. So finding our way to be that center point, to be the eye of our own storm, to use another analogy or another example, I've been talking a lot about how opposing forces can actually, the tension that two opposing forces have can actually create balance and stability. But the key there is that there's a fulcrum, right? Think of a seesaw or a teeter-totter or a top, a gyroscope or a top spinning. In order for that spinning intensity, in order for these two opposing forces to find balance, there's got to be a center point. And we now, more than ever, we've always been the center point, but more than ever, it is crucial that we find our own center point and that we put ourselves in the center of our experience. And how do we do that? By grounding into our truth. And what's the deal with truth? Only you know what it feels like. So I want to talk today about, sort of what I see for the remainder of October, kind of moving into September, September, might as well be moving into November. And then on, I'm not going to talk about November, December yet, but, I'm starting to see some things come up as themes. As always, my client sessions and the work that I do always brings to me insight and information that starts to unfold and show me sort of what is the theme that we're dealing with right now. So I want to share that with you. So before we jump into it, I just want to give you a couple of updates. The Mastery Mentorship Program, as always, I have, I think, 2 spots available right now. So if you're interested, go to my website, andrewmartin.energy, and check out the Mastery Mentorship page, and you can sign up for your free intake call. It's a 30-minute intake call. There's no commitment with the intake call. It's just an opportunity for us to talk about and decide if we are ready for, if it's the right time for you to do this work. It is all about transformation. It is all about finding your truth, finding your purpose. And a lot of what I'm going to talk about today is stuff that we uncover and really work through in the program. It is next level shit. So if you're ready for that, then that's what this program is for. And this program is what, it's about what's beyond being spiritual, what's beyond the spiritual journey, what's beyond the idea that it's all out here. This is about really exploring your internal landscape, getting to know your inner cast of characters, finding those corners of the self that have yet to be explored and acknowledged and loved and embraced. And how do I find my shadow self? And how do I find compassion for these dark parts of myself that feel a little scary or feel a little creepy or crunchy or whatever? That's what this program is about, is learning how to embrace all of it and hold it within you, right? How can I create a space and a field that's large enough to encompass all that I am and not leave any of it outside, not exclude any of it, include it all, call it all back home and learn to love all of it. So that's what the Mastery Mentorship is about. And then for my sessions, I've gone back to the intuitive readings. I've moved away from the oracle cards. Excuse me, I have something in my eye. I've moved away from the oracle card readings, except for my 2 days at the House of Intuition. So still doing the sound healing, still doing the oracle card readings, and then I'm going to have a couple events coming up. God, what is this in my eye? Do I have to go get my eye drops? And then in November, I'm going to have a couple of online events as well, so keep your eyes open. So that's really it for the announcement. So let's jump into what's up for October. And, right now we are in the midst of this Venus retrograde. For those of you who are not familiar with it, and let me just say, I'm not one of those people that believes that the astrological alignments or whatever has happening planetarily is all that's going on. I think it's an ingredient, and it's an important ingredient. But I think that, we oftentimes give so much weight and so much importance to this singular part of the experience that it can create some imbalance. However, Venus retrograde is a very powerful experience right now. And Venus is all about our relationships. Not just our love relationships, not just our romantic relationships, but our relationships with everything. Our relationships with money, specifically. Our relationships with love, specifically. And sex and intimacy. And ultimately, any external relationship is what? Just pointing me back to my relationship with myself. And one of the themes that I am seeing over and over and over come up, and in my own life as well, is it's time to reassess our relationships right now. And I'm really thinking a lot lately about emotional congruence. And the idea of congruence is, are things aligned? Are things moving parallel? Are things moving, in alignment with one another? Or is it incongruent? Am I trying to butt up against something that just isn't moving? Am I trying to go to this well that has long since run dry? Am I trying to scoop another spoonful of something out of the Nutella jar that has been empty for a long time? And we might even be trying to lick that last little bit of goodness out of the Nutella jar, but that's just empty. It's done. So give me a thumbs up, a heart, a poop emoji, stars, sparkles, I don't know, hearts, moons, four-leaf clovers, whatever, if you are feeling this pull and this nudge to reassess your relationships. And when we talk about relationships, of course, we always think of romantic relationships, and that's part of it. I've got some notes over here, so pardon me if I keep glancing over here. I just want to make sure that I can get all the information that I have written down for you. We're seeing so many of the changes, and I'm going to reference again this eclipse season, and I know we're all fucking sick and tired of talking about it, but it was a really, really big crossroads for us. The changes that we went through over the summer or the past 4 or 5 months were no joke. They were life-changing, not to overstate it, but life-changing shifts, and we are only now just beginning to see them manifest in the physical plane. And the way that I look at energy is it always starts as an impulse first. It starts up here in the non-physical, in the ether, as an idea or as an inspiration or an insight or an epiphany. The example that I always like to use is, what is the first step in building an airplane? The first step in building the airplane is the impulse to ask, I wonder what it would be like to fly like the birds. That's the first step in creating anything, is the question of what would it be like? Or is this something that I want? Or am I ready to move on? Or is it time for me to move on? So we're now seeing all of the changes and the shifts that we went through are now finally starting to manifest in physical. So energy starts up here as a non-physical impulse, and then it slowly moves down into density and works its way in through our system. And by the time it shows up in our physical form as something I can touch or taste or feel or experience through my physical body, now it's time to take action. And now it's time to begin to make choices. Now it's time to ask some questions. And so we're being asked now to see, looking at our experience, our physical experience, and the internal experience. The primary experience is internal. The primary reality is in here. The secondary reality is the external one. The secondary reality is what I can see out here and experience through the body. And so my external secondary reality always tells me, always tells me exactly what is going on or has been going on inside. What I see, touch, taste, feel, smell, experience out here is always a perfect reflection of what I've got going on in here. And what I've got going on in here is my beliefs, my thoughts, my ideas, my programs, whatever I've got going on in my body, perhaps cellular memory, whatever it is. So by the time I see it in physical and can interact with it, that is, it's already done. It's already presented. It's for me. And now it's time to start to reassess those things. So it's not just an impulse anymore. This is about taking a look, a really honest, clear look at our physical experience and asking the question, what is congruent? Where is the congruence? And when I ask for where is the congruence, what does that do? That always highlights for me what is not working, what is incongruent, what is imbalanced, what is empty, what is depleted, and what it is time to begin to reassess my relationship with and either move on from, leave it behind, give it a big mwah, kiss and a thank you and a peace out. Or is it time for me to reassess the give and the take? Is it time to redraw my boundaries? So a lot of solar plexus stuff happening. I will tell you, I've been having some gut issues lately. And whenever I have gut issues, I know that that's all about solar plexus work for me. And solar plexus is all about personal power. It's all about personal boundaries. And it's the solar plexus is where the divine knows itself in form. So all that I am, the soul, the creator self, the higher self, who knows itself as Andrew in this lifetime, who has chosen the experience of Andrew in this lifetime to know itself in a new way. This is where it comes forth and says, okay, I'm choosing to be Andrew, and now I get to learn through the vehicle and the story called Andrew. So the choices that I make as Andrew, the decisions that I make, the beliefs that I hold up as true, and the actions that I take are how my creator self, my true self, is learning to know itself in a new way. So it's always when I have some gut stuff that's telling me, okay, Andrew, it's time to clear some stuff, it's time to release some stuff, and it's time to let go of what is incongruent. Here's the thing. There's some really important questions to ask here, and I'm going to share some of these questions for you. The first one is, does it fit anymore? Am I going back to those clothes that I used to love that just don't fit and it's been hanging in the back of my closet, and I pull out the shirt and I go, oh yeah, I remember the shirt, I love this shirt, and I put it on and it doesn't fit and it's uncomfortable and it makes me feel fat and I just feel so gross and out of whack with it and I'm sucking in my stomach all the time and it just doesn't feel cute. But I don't, for whatever reason, I can't bear to part with it. So I put it in the back of my closet and then 6 months later go, oh yeah, that shirt, I love that shirt. And I go, well, maybe, I think last time I wore that, it made me feel fat. Oh, but no, I feel good. And I put it on and what happens? I get out of the house and halfway down the street, I'm like, fuck, I feel so gross in this shirt. These are the things that it's time to get really, really honest with you guys. Does it fit anymore? Is it still what you want? Is what you have right now still what you want? Give me a thumbs up. Give me a heart emoji if you have some clothes that it's time to throw out. If you have some clothes, and you know what I'm saying, the clothes are a metaphor for relationships. Literally, you could go into your closet and clear out some stuff, but it's not just about your clothes, right? I think you understand that this is about this is a way to assess your relationships. Does it fit? Do I feel comfortable here? Do I feel valued here? Do I feel safe here? And this is a big one, not just physical safety, although physical safety is a huge part of it. If you are literally feeling physically unsafe, that's very clear that it's time to move on. But also emotional safety. Emotional safety is crucial, everybody. We so often forget to talk about emotional safety, and in our society, we have not really been trained or, led to believe or allowed to see how important emotional safety is, right? We say, oh God, I'm just not feeling safe here. Oh, man up, don't be such a pussy. Come on, be strong, but suck it up, just go do it. We turn it into somehow being sensitive, and our emotionality is something that we are supposed to see as a liability. Bullshit. Anybody who tells you that your emotions are not valid, anybody who tells you that your emotions are not something to listen to, anyone who tells you that your emotional self is frivolous and indulgent and you shouldn't just use your head, get out of your heart, don't be so weak, just power through. Hello? No. You are the one that is accountable and responsible for your emotional safety. And if we keep showing up to the well, trying to be fed, trying to get our thirst quenched, and it's just not happening, then it's up to us to acknowledge that and say, I'm not feeling honored here. I'm not feeling safe here. I'm not feeling valued here. And that is our relationships with everything. We can look at money as the same thing. Like if I'm finding a lack in my life, that's an opportunity for me to ask, okay, am I valuing my relationship with money? Do I really see money as something for what it is, which is just a part of the eternal flow? Or do I see it as something out here, something external that I have to ask for or beg for or wait for? Or, do I believe that because I did this thing that I'm not worthy, right? So this is about getting in and really looking at our beliefs and asking some really tough questions. So is it still what you want? One of the questions, and I shared this in one of the videos, the 30 videos in 30 days challenge, which I think is coming up on day 4, was this question of how do you know, or how do you find the confidence or the courage to move on or make a choice and leave something behind and not procrastinate? And sometimes we may not feel confident making the choice. Sometimes the only confidence is I am confident that this is no longer for me. I am confident that I am not emotionally safe here, but I may not feel confident in moving away. I might be nervous, I might be anxious, and that's okay. This idea that somehow I'm gonna always feel like, yes, come on, let's do it. I'm ready, I'm strong, I'm powerful, and I am ready to make this choice. No, sometimes it might be, oh my God, I'm really afraid to make this choice. I know it's the right thing, but I don't want to do it. It makes me nervous. It makes me anxious because the mind is trying to convince me that I need to be in this toxic relationship or I need to continue this unhealthy dynamic. Because the mind only knows what has happened up until this point. The mind is an archive. The mind is not a genius. The mind is not a visionary. The mind is only doing what it thinks you need to know, telling you what it thinks you need to hear to keep you safe in the known zone and the comfort zone. And we all know that the comfort zone is not always comfortable. So just because you don't feel like you are brave. Just because you don't feel like you have the confidence to do it doesn't mean that you can't. Sometimes the courage shows up when you're already in process. I think a lot about my relationship with exercise. And I love to work out and I love to stay fit because, well, I don't love to work out, but I love being fit and I know that it's good for me. And when I'm getting ready to work out, a lot of times I don't want to do it. And I'm always looking for where's the inspiration, where's the motivation. Sometimes the motivation doesn't kick in until I'm halfway through my workout. Sometimes the best thing I get out of exercise is when it's done, and the celebration and the joy and the relief that I feel at having completed it. So sometimes the feeling that we're looking for only comes once we have started to take action, once we have started to make a choice. But when we're really, really honest with what's going on in here, and if there's a chronic question that's coming up, is it time to move on? Is it time to move on? Is it time to move on? The sheer fact that you are asking that question means that on some level that process is already happening. So honor those questions, honor those subtle nudges that say, hey, are you sure this is where you want to be? Are you sure this is what makes you happy? It's time for us to review our life. It's time for us to really look at the checks and the balances. And here's a big question to ask yourself, especially with Venus retrograde. Is it sustainable? And what I mean by that is pick a theme or an issue or a relationship in your life that you feel is not exactly entirely 100%. And I know that even as I'm saying this, you know exactly what it is that I'm talking about. And look at it very clearly and very honestly and ask yourself this question. If the relationship that I have with this person or this relationship or this job or this pattern or this belief, whatever it is, if this is as good as it gets, will it be enough? If the relationship that I have with this, whatever it is, right here and now, is as good as it gets, is it sustainable? Can I continue in this current state for another 3 days, for another 3 weeks, for another 3 months, for another 3 years? Can you project and say, in 2021, if I am in the exact same place with this relationship as I am now, will I be okay with that? That's a really, really powerful question to consider, and it's time for some really, really deep honesty with ourselves. The body never lies. This never lies. It is always telling you exactly where you are congruent or not. So asking yourself, and this is where we get into something very powerful, especially with relationships, romantic and love relationships, we have a tendency, those of us who are sensitive or intuitive, or we like to give and to heal and to help, we love to fall in love with people's potential. And our friends and our family or experience are telling us, girl, what the hell are you doing with this person? This person doesn't respect, but he's so smart and I see that he's so kind in his heart. And there's so many times that I see he's so gentle and so loving and so whatever. Okay, great. But you're not dating someone's fucking potential. You're dating the person that is in front of you right here, right now. We all have the divine spark within us. That's what keeps us going. We all have the connection to the perfected place. But that's the point of a human life, is to learn how to let that perfected self come through our humanness. And it is our humanness and our beliefs and our patterns and our choices that are so often distorted. And so often we've got two people who are in relation to one another, but they're not being honest about what is in front of them. You are not dating someone's potential. You are dating who is in front of you and who's showing up to the table right now. And it's really, really important to be honest about that. Does that work for you? Is that enough for you? Here's another way to look at it. We talk a lot about, where's my joy? I want to find the thing that brings me joy. I want to find the thing that brings me satisfaction. I want to find the thing that brings me fulfillment. And that's important. That's a powerful question to ask. But I'm going to flip the script and I'm going to level up the challenge for you. It's not about where is the joy, fulfillment, satisfaction out here. It's about where can I find something that inspires me to bring my joy. Where can I find something that I wake up and I go, oh my fucking God, I am so excited to bring my A game to this. And if you are bringing your best, if you are always bringing your A game and you are not getting the best in return, that is something to pay attention to. Here's another way to look at it. Is what you are feeding you in return? And I don't mean this as like a transactional thing, like, well, I gave you 10 and you only gave me 5, so fuck you, asshole. No, it's not about that. Although thumbs up or heart emoji if we all have wanted to say that at some point in a time. Screw you, asshole, I'm fucking out of here, right? But it's really about, if what I am bringing is my best, and I can be really honest with myself and say, yeah, man, I was bringing my A game and I brought my best to the table, is what you are getting in return enough? Maybe the person is giving you their best. Maybe they're also being very, very honest and saying, yeah, dude, I am bringing you my best. This is as much as I have to give. Is it enough? Is it worth what you are pouring into? Are you pouring water into a vase expecting it to fill and then only to realize that it's got a big old fucking crack at the bottom of it and it's never gonna fill? Look, this is not a judgment of the other person. It's just that at this point where we are right now, it is time to get really clear. Are the things that I have said yes to, are the things that I have committed to, are the things that I am in relationship with feeding me in a way that allows me to be fed and not depleted? Because that's what it comes down to. When you are bringing your best, are you getting the best in return? And if you are, is the best that you're getting in return enough? Or is it time to move on? And there's no shame in wanting to move on. I know that so many of us feel like, oh, but I don't want to be the bad guy, or I don't want to be the bitch, or he's so nice and he's so kind and he's so sweet and we've been together for so long, or I loved this job and my boss is so great to me. Hey, that's okay. This is the mark of spiritual maturity, you guys. When we're talking about relationships, pay attention to this. The mark of a spiritually mature, or one of the marks of a spiritually mature relationship and some spiritual maturity, is I can move on and without someone needing to be the bad guy. You don't have to be an asshole for me to walk away. When I'm at a level of spiritual maturity and I realize, like, honey, I know you're doing your best and I love you so much, but it is just not enough anymore. I need more. I'm being called to another place. I'm being called to a level of awareness that I have not experienced before, and I can't take you with me. Right? We get one carry-on and a personal item. And if it doesn't fit into the overhead bin, then it's not fucking going on the plane. We are really proceeding now into the next phase of life. And it is crucial that we are honest with ourselves, like serious honesty, real talk, come to Jesus, get real, get clear. Because we cannot pretend anymore that the things that aren't working are gonna work. We cannot pretend anymore that the things that have made us uncomfortable or make us feel depleted or make us feel dissatisfied or make us feel used or whatever, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And it's not about pointing the finger. It's not anybody's fault. We've just got two people or a person and a thought, or, we've got two energy signatures that are, coming together. And are they congruent? Are they working in alignment together, or are they balanced? Am I at the center of my experience and allowing myself to be the fulcrum, to be that point where, the eye of my own storm? Because that's where my power is. So a couple of other questions to ask. Whose dream are you chasing? Whose bottom line are you working for? Whose vision are you building? Is it yours? Is it something that you believe in? Is it something that inspires you to bring your best? Or are you pouring water into a vase that's got a big old crack? And let me tell you, it's not your job to fix the crack. It's not your job to fix somebody else's pain. It's not. And I know for those of us who are givers and healers and helpers, it is excruciating for us sometimes to move away from those things because we see the best in them. We see the potential. We see how bright and how beautiful they are in their truest sense. But that's not who we're engaging with. Who I'm engaging with is who is in front of me right now. And your choice is your choice and my choice is my choice. And those choices don't allow us to connect anymore. I cannot continue to set myself on fire to keep you warm. I cannot continue to cut off parts of myself and feed you. I cannot continue to delete and edit and deny and diminish and minimize so that you feel more comfortable in my presence. I cannot continue to say, yes, these things are okay when they're not. So it's time to get clear. It's time to get clear. It's time to take responsibility. It's time to take accountability. And it's time to just feel it. Feel it. It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be disappointed. It's okay to be sad. And it's okay to wish with every fiber of your being that it could be anything other than what it is. All of your emotions, all of your feelings are here to help you. They're all a blessing. They're always pointing you in the direction of that which is unresolved, of that which is imbalanced, of that which is true, right? Congruence is everything. And if thinking about something or engaging with someone or thinking about, you've got your phone and you're like, oh, I'm getting ready to text what's his name or that girl. And I don't know, when I think about engaging with that part, it makes me feel toxic. It makes me feel anxious. It makes me close down. My heart goes, nope. My gut goes, nope. And my body starts to contract. If thinking about doing something makes me feel that way, I guarantee you that doing it is going to feel 100 times worse. Our bodies are the way that we communicate with ourselves. And when my body is telling me, girl, don't, and I do it anyway, that's my choice. But that's me from the perfected place saying, this is not for you. This is not true for you. This is not congruent with who and what you are. And you're the one that has to honor that truth. You're accountable for speaking your truth. The only person that needs your permission to speak and take action on your truth is you. It's time. So ask yourself, when you envision the big picture of your life, what is present? If you project 6 weeks from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, and you look at the landscape of your life, what's there? What's not there? What feels like a fucking backpack full of wet sand that you've been carrying around on your back? It's time to take that off so that you can look at it, you can open it up, you can love it, and you can let it go. When we allow ourselves to stand in our truth, an amazing thing happens. We expand, and our field grows, and our field has freedom to it blows up. And when my field is balanced, and I'm coming from my truth, and I'm in my integrity, and I'm congruent, man, that's when my field embraces all of me. My shadow, my light, my happiness, my sadness, my pain, my wellness, my anger, my joy. It is all you, and it is all okay. But you can't say that 90% of my life I'm totally honored and I'm paying attention and I'm being really honest, but this other 10% I'm just going to pretend, no, it's fine, girl, no. Congruence is, I'm either congruent or I'm not. It's like, I'm not kind of pregnant. I'm either pregnant or I'm not. I'm either being honest and truthful and living from that place or I'm not. And I get it, right? I don't want to oversimplify it in the sense, if we've got trauma, if we've got PTSD, if we've got some stuff in our past that is hairy and scary and big, yeah, honor it. It's going to take some time. Sometimes truth is a culmination of a lot of little choices. Sometimes courage is a lot of tiny little steps towards the things that scare us and frighten us. Sometimes completion is just letting go a little bit more today. Sometimes it's not practical to just rip the Band-Aid off and say, fuck you, and set it on fire and walk away. Although I think of that, Waiting to Exhale, when Angela Bassett just throws all the shit in his car and sets it on fire with her cigarette. I love that scene. And I would love it if I had enough bravery and courage to do that in my own life. But sometimes it's a step forward and then a little step back and a step to the edge and I'm not ready. It's okay. Honor that. But those questions, can I do this anymore? Is this really still for me? Am I safe here? Am I honored here? Am I valued here? Those are the important questions to ask, and pay attention to those answers. And if you don't know how to do it, ask the universe, okay, universe, I'm ready to do this, but I'm terrified and I don't know how it's gonna happen. So please show me the door and I'll walk through it. Please give me the words and I will speak them. Please reveal the path and I promise I will take one step today. As we wrap up, I'll leave you with an exercise that I love. So if there's something chronic in your life, let's say it's a relationship with money, and you aren't sure, like, how am I so sideways with money? Why does it always feel like I'm anxious? And you can use this with anything. I'm just using money as an example. Why am I always sideways with money? Why does my relationship with money feel so difficult and so challenging? Sit down, get a pen and paper. This is paper, this is a pen, just in case you didn't know. Sit down with a pen and paper and write. And set a timer on your phone for like 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Give yourself a time limit, because the time limit does a couple of things. Number one, it commits you to doing it and being honest, just being there and present for the next 20 minutes. And it also gives you a container so that you're not sitting here for 5 hours writing. I mean, if you want to write for 5 hours, you can, but I've got shit to do. So sit down and write. When I think of money, I feel, and just let it rip. Set that timer and just let it rip. And you will give yourself an opportunity to see, oh my God, when I look at, like, I've been writing for 20 minutes about money and the constant thread is fear and anxiety and anger. Imagine your relationship with money was a relationship with a person. If you felt the way about money that you feel about, or if you felt the way about a person, the way that you feel about money, or if someone treated you the way that you treat money, what would your relationship be? Same thing with a person. If you're in a relationship, I'm gonna briefly tell you, over the summer, I met this dude and we were hanging out and spending a lot of time together. We weren't dating, it wasn't a relationship, it was just a toxic clusterfuck, really, is what it was. And I found myself giving and giving and giving, and I was depleted and depleted and depleted, and I didn't know what was going on. I was so confused and I was so conflicted, and it was so emotionally unsafe for me, and I felt this big. I felt this big when I was in the presence of this guy. But my pain was so attracted to him. My wound was so attracted to him. And it was the perfect way for me to understand more completely my relationship with my wound and with my pain. And finally, after hanging out with him for like 3 or 4 months, I had reached my breaking point, and I sat down and I was like, okay, when I am with him, this is predominantly how I feel. I had spent a weekend with him, and I thought, okay, I'm just gonna write down, and it was so crazy because I had spent the weekend with him, and I came back from the weekend, and the minute that my plane landed and I walked into my apartment, I burst into tears. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Why am I so emotional? And what I realized is the part of me that was in so much pain was crying out to be heard and to be seen. And so I got really, really honest with myself, and I sat down and I said, when I am with John, I'm just gonna call him John, that wasn't his name, but when I am with John, the predominant things that I felt this weekend were, and they were anxious, scared, diminished, belittled, terrified, uncomfortable, whatever. It was like 90% of what I wrote was something that I didn't want to feel, was a place that I didn't want to hang out. And it was very clear to me that, oh my God, my wound is the one that has been choosing this to get my fucking attention. And what I realized is that the wounded part of me is never going to make a healthy choice. He doesn't know how. That part of me that was never shown love, that part of me that was kicked and beaten and abused, not physically, but verbally, that part of me that was in so much pain and so broken, he didn't know how to make a healthy choice. He didn't know how to choose something that was emotionally safe because he had no idea what emotional safety was. It is my job to rescue myself. It was my job to end that. It was my job to say, I can't do this anymore. And it was the hardest thing that I have ever done. But the power that was present in that choice when I finally said, no, I can't do it anymore. I have to love that part of myself because he doesn't know how to find it. He doesn't know what love feels like. So I have to show him. I have to show him. You know, I see this all the time. People come to me and they ask me, they say, I want to be in a relationship. I want to be in love. I want to be happy. And I ask them, okay, what does that feel like? What does love feel like for you? And most of the time they don't have an answer. And I say, well, if you don't know what love feels like, how will you ever recognize it? If you don't know what emotional safety feels like, how will you ever know if you're there? It's like sending someone to the grocery store to look for a chocolate cake and they've never fucking seen it. Is this it? No, that's broccoli. Is this it? No, that's ground beef. The point of this is to say that you are the one that you have been waiting for. And when you can finally turn to the part of you that is in so much pain and say, I promise you, I am going to do everything that I can do to show you what love and safety feels like. And I will never put the burden of looking for something that you have no reference for. I will never put that burden on you. I am the one who will show you what love is. I am the one who will show you what safety is. And I will help you find it. And when it shows up and that's not it, and it might be a bright, shiny, story and lots of pretty stuff and someone throwing glitter on a piece of glass trying to tell me that it's a diamond, no. I know what love feels like and that's not it. And I'm never going to expect the part of me that is broken to make that decision. He doesn't know how to handle that, but I do. So it's time to advocate for yourself. It is time to step forward and say, you know what? I may not have any fucking clue what this is, but I'm going to figure it out. And I'm enough and I know I can do it. And if I can't do it on my own, I'm going to find help. I'm going to find someone who can walk with me. I'm going to find someone who can guide me and show me. So that's what this is all about. Congruence. And if it doesn't feel right for you, it's not right for you. And nobody else has to understand why it's not right for you. If I've chosen to be with someone through my pain, when I decide to heal myself, they're not going to understand that. And the dude, when I finally broke it off, I was like, I can't do this anymore. This is not safe. This is not healthy. And I got to move on. He didn't get it. His response was, I feel like you're being dramatic. Okay, well, that right there clearly tells me how much value you place on my emotional well-being. And that was like, ding, the light fucking came on. So it's time. It's time to get clear, it's time to get honest, and it's time to make a choice. And that choice doesn't have to start with a big external dramatic action. The choice can just be, I'm going to be honest with myself today. I'm going to get clear with myself today. And I'm going to allow that clarity inspire me to action. I can't expect that person that I chose through pain and suffering to understand that I want to leave pain and suffering. He was brought to me so that I could see clearly how big my pain and suffering was. And that's why he came to me. And I am grateful to the end of time for him. I'm not going to tell him that. I'm not going to reopen that. But energetically, I've got nothing but love for him. But I also know I can't go back there. I've crossed that threshold and I'll never go back. So this is what it's all about. For the next couple of weeks, and while Venus is in retrograde, we have this amazing opportunity to get right with ourselves and to realize that the wounded self is only going to continue to perpetuate the wound because that's all he knows. And when I let him off the hook and say, honey, it's not your responsibility anymore. I'm the one that will choose wellness, and I'll show you what it feels like. And if you don't believe it, I'm just going to put you in my pocket. I'm going to put you in my baby Bjorn, and I'm going to carry you with me and show you. And I will show you by my example. And I promise you, I will never put you in a place where you feel unsafe like that again. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. Andrew Martin Energy on Patreon, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. AndrewMartin.energy is my website. Excuse me, I need a Kleenex. If you're interested in the Mastery Mentorship Program, check it out and set yourself up with a intake call so we can talk about that. Sound healing sessions and intuitive sessions, they're all out there. I would love to work with you. I would love to help you in any way that I can. Thank you so much for giving me some time on this beautiful Sunday. I love you, I love you, I love you. Mwah! Talk to you later. Bye.